All right. Good to have you back now. Ken Davis is the former Deputy Attorney General for the state of Virginia. He's back with me again today. Ken, nice to see you again today.
Good morning. Good to be with you, Steve.
Good to be with you. I sit here and I've got this comment, and maybe I should have told the guys to have this ready. Let's go to bite 5, guys. I want you to hear this. I told a friend of mine, an attorney, a number of years ago, not that many years ago, 5-8 years ago, that the First Amendment of the United States Constitution was under attack. And Ken, he just laughed me off. He's a Democrat. He's old school liberal. He's not a radical, not a bomb thrower like some of these folks. He just laughed about, oh, come on, Steve, what's going on? Okay, so here's Hillary Clinton following a second assassination attempt on Donald Trump yesterday and what she thinks should be done. Listen to this.
And boosting Trump back in 2016. But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence. Because
criminally charged for what you post on the internet, she thinks would be a good idea, does Hillary? And I'd like to say, well, she's on an island. She's by herself, Ken. As we sit here and look at Constitution Day, I don't know that any of these people have ever seen the document or read the document. Your thoughts?
Well, it's another very disturbing, indeed frightening example of the lawlessness, the unconstitutional, unlimited lawlessness of the left. Clinton is only one example where they are clearly and in more and more brazen fashion, clearly comfortable with openly resorting to the use of the state, the power of the state, against political enemies.
We must, I mean, the absurdity, Ken, of we must get rid of the Constitution to save America and democracy. I'm sorry, we are the longest functioning government in world history. Go look it up, boys and girls. The longest functioning government in world history is right here. It's the United States of America. This Constitution that they hate so much has worked pretty damn well for just shy of 250 years, Ken.
Well, they, since the progressives emerged as a political force at the turn of the 20th century, they have relentlessly attacked, done everything they can to discredit, undermine trust, and just denigrate and disparage the principles and institutions of the founding of this country. Why? Because the principle of natural rights embodied in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution that was established 237 years ago today to protect those rights, to secure those rights by limiting the power of the federal government to certain carefully enumerated authorities. Those principles and institutions are what stand in the way of the only thing that progressives have ever cared about, and that is the amassing and exercise and the maintenance and the further expansion of unlimited power.
That's what they want. And that's what they want with these illegals that they're pouring into our country and giving them, voting cards, even though they're not legal to vote. It has to do with all of this lawfare. First, they sue Robert Kennedy to make sure he's not on the ballot in certain states, and then when he wants to leave, they sue to keep him on the ballot in certain states. These are the people that say they care about every vote must count. Well, if every vote must count, why would you keep a guy on the ballot who's not actually running for president anymore? Because any vote for him doesn't really count. They're liars, Ken. They're dishonest snakes. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's where am I wrong?
You're not wrong. They are cynical, power hungry, wannabe tyrants. That's all that it's about. They talk about issues, whether it's the environment or racial justice or public housing or anything else. It's never about the issue. It's only about the tactical use of narratives. And
Well, it's about power, because I can go to any city in America that's been run by Democrats for the last, and almost every major city in America has been run by Democrats for the last 50 to 100 years, depending on which city and how long. And I can see the state of America's cities today as compared to where they were in 1960 or 1980 or 2000. It's been a precipitous drop for most. The education systems are bad. The infrastructure is bad. The leadership is corrupt in many, many places. It's a persistent problem across these big cities in America, which are a cancer upon the country, really, in many cases, that need to be healed. So this is my last question to you, Ken. How do we heal it? How do we get back to the Constitution? How do we have civics returned to America?
Well, people need to understand that self-government, the first word in the phrase self-government is self. And so each of us and every one of us has a responsibility to acquaint themselves or reacquaint themselves with the principles and institutions of the founding, and then apply that to every aspect of their daily civic duty in picking the candidates in every single election and backing the ones that are more likely to return us to more of a form of constitutional government, and vigorously opposing those who don't.
Yeah. Didn't John Kennedy say that? I mean, if you go back to real Democrats, ask not what your country can do for you. I mean, it's pretty basic stuff for what Democrats used to be, sir. I really appreciate you being here, Ken, as always.
Thank you, Steve. Good to be with you.
Thank you. We'll talk again.